What's up, guys, and welcome to the show. My name is Chepto Ekboyo, and today we have Nthenya Mwendwa, who is a fashion designer and the brains behind Label Saba. Basically, a designer for international celebrities. Welcome to the show, Nthenya.
What an introduction. Hi. Nice to meet you all.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Where to begin? Well, born and bred in Nairobi. Went to school here, did high school here, and then did my university in Malaysia. Mm-hmm. Which ended up being, I stayed there for 15 years. Moved back to Nairobi end of 2016.
Okay.
And then decided, took a year out to kind of decide what it was I wanted to do. Because I realized when I started scouting for jobs in the fashion industry, what they were giving in terms of payment was what I was being paid as an intern when I was in uni. And I was just like, no, I'm not going all the way back after all that, experience I've gained. So that's when I decided to do my own brand. And funny enough, initially I started with clothes. And I come from a very competitive artisanal family, especially on my dad's side. So my cousin is Katungulu Mwendwa, the owner of Katush Nairobi.
I know Katush.
So she was already established in the market. And so I started thinking, now, how am I going to, get a foothold in a market where she's already kind of dominated in terms of the family name? And then my friend suggested, why don't you do bags? So I said, okay, fine. Did like a mini crash course on YouTube for 2 weeks to understand the dimensions and things like that. And then found a factory to outsource, did some samples. And I saw within 3 months, I started exporting. The business moved so much faster than me. Wow. So that's how I kind of landed here.
Okay. So now you just said you started with a cloth line before you switched. What happened to the cloth line? Did you just discard it?
I just discarded it, to be honest. I ended up repurposing it to my own wardrobe because I was like, there's no point. It wasn't. I realized also, if you had told me even 5 years before now, that I was going to do bags, I'd probably have laughed at you. Because I'd never seen myself doing bags. Now there's nothing else I would rather do. Whereas the clothes, it was like, I'm just trying to see how it comes out. And so I think I found my purpose. Yeah.
Did you always want to be a fashion designer since you're small?
Yes. In fact, my very first picture in KG, is it 1 or 2, was my parents' wedding day. And my dad remained a stick figure because who cares what he was wearing? And my mom had this huge dress. And then because she was expecting me, there was a little box with me inside the dress. So yes, I always wanted to do fashion. Yeah, always.
And now that you're doing bags, what fabrics do you use for your bags?
So I use cowhide. And one of the reasons I chose cowhide is because no one cow has the same print. So I tend to then be able to give people one-off bags, which is really special because then you're the only person in the world with that bag. I also use fish leather. So we get fish leather from Lake Turkana, and the processing plant is in Kitale. And reasons I chose fish leather was because I wanted to be a sustainable brand from the beginning. And a lot of people, till now, still haven't heard of fish leather. Even when
this is the first time I'm hearing, I'm like, so fish has a leather? Okay.
Exactly. So, and I love that everything in my brand is a byproduct of the food industry. So no species are killed to make my bags. So even the fish, they were just polluting, Lake Turkana, Lake Victoria, just discarding the skins. When this guy, my supplier, decided to do fish leather, I looked at it and I said immediately I wanted to work with it because it's so much fun. There's so many ways you can play with it and finish it. So that was something really important for me. And then we also use top grain leather and Maasai beading. So the Maasai beading, reason I also chose that was because I always said if I was going to start a business, I was going to really lean into my Maasai heritage. My mom's Maasai. She's from Namanga. And I wanted to preserve the motifs I noticed that with the growth of Maasai market, the stories behind the beading motifs disappeared. People were just doing designs for doing designs.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people started just looking at it as a tourist item or a trinket, but not as something as important as it is for us. I mean, my mom has her wedding necklace on the wall. Nobody touches that necklace. She cleans it herself. She removes it herself. She puts it back herself. She doesn't want anybody to touch it. Her mom's divorced, been divorced 20 years. Don't touch it. So for us, it's really important. And I wanted to also introduce tradition and culture into the luxury space so that when you buy a bag, you're not just buying a bag, you're buying a story. Like the beadwork is telling you where it's from, whether it's from Narok, whether it's from West Pokot, or whether it's from Kajiado or Tanzania with the white beads. So that's something I wanted to bring back the value of what we take and see in our beadwork.
Because I believe every bag, since you've said you're using the cowhide, which is totally different from one another, hence the exclusivity of it. So that means every bag has a story.
Yep.
So what does yours tell? And what kind of bags do you make?
Well, my story is basically refined nomadism because my ideal customer is someone who's always jet setting, someone who's got an eye for detail, someone who's not afraid of bold colors, someone who wants to stand out with unique materials. Also, it's a movement of luxury through traditional spaces and refined craftsmanship, and it kind of bringing us into like a new age heritage. So it's transcendent, it's eternal, it's African. When you carry that bag, everybody knows it's an African bag, you know, like it's luxury born in Africa. So that's a story that I wanted to put out. I wanted to see more people, not just always carrying Prada and Gucci, but also valuing what we're able to produce. The current range was I made clutch bags in various sizes, so large, medium, and small. And then our bestseller is the travel bag. Yeah, that's the one that sells quite a lot. And one thing that I do with all my customers, and I think that they enjoy this process, is I build the bags with them. So I tell them what's available at the factory in terms of the leathers, the cowhides. You know, I show them the various prints. Same with the fish leather. And then I also show them various beading motifs so they can decide what they want. So in essence, they're actually building their own bag, unique to them and their personality. And each bag from order to finish is 4 to 6 weeks. So I've noticed the fact that they have to wait for their bag makes them value it even more when they receive it. Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey, and I love to see people's personalities come out when we're building the bags. Yeah.
Why the name Label Saba?
Initially, I wanted to do just Saba alone. Reason being, number 7 has always been a very lucky number for me. I mean, almost to the point every apartment I've lived in has had the number 7 or adds up to the number 7. Every flight seat I've sat in always has a 7.
Like 7 is your number.
Yeah, so I really wanted to do Saba, but there were several brands that already had this name. So I decided the label Saba would be what I wanted to choose for the brand, and something that stands out because then people always ask me, what does Saba mean? Yeah, that's why I chose it.
What inspires your collection?
Everything. Everywhere I go, I travel quite a bit on my own and for work. So the people I meet, buildings, I have a thing for buildings, especially like if I go to Europe and all the old architecture, the churches. I was in Milan for 6 months doing a bag course in 2021. And I swear I was so fixated with the doors. Each apartment or building had a different kind of door. So I just would walk around and take pictures of doors. I don't know why, like the doors completely. So that everything inspires me. People, architecture, even the beadwork sometimes inspires me. Conversations with people. I love listening to people's stories, especially the older generation. So even when I go to Masaini, I go for like 2 days so I can sit down with Ngogos and listen to their stories and look at their shocked faces when they're like, oh, you're not married yet. You have no children. This girl, look at her. She's the youngest in the beading circle and she's got 4 kids. And I'm like, yeah. So, so it's everything inspires me really. Yeah.
I checked on you on social media and I saw a lot of celebrities. Specifically, these are prime. Should I say prime?
A-listers.
These are elite celebrities. How many have your bags?
Wow. Maybe more than 30.
Damn.
Because I did. So initially how all this started was I was doing Dubai Expo 2020. And under the Kenyan exhibitor stand. And what ended up happening was it was so strange. So because I'm really anal about things getting to places on time and always trying to see 10 steps ahead, I actually shipped the bags to Dubai in December, even though I was supposed to start in January. And I shipped them to my best friend and I said, just in case anything happens, let me just ship them ahead of time. Because that was a time when they were banning us from flying and not banning us from flying. So you never knew where you stood. And sure enough, we were banned from flying. So my best friend ended up having to open the stand for me at the Dubai Expo. And the craziest thing, everybody who had shipped using cargo, their stuff went and got stuck at customs in Dubai. So my little brand was actually the one that opened the Kenyan stand. So you had the CS coming to the stand, like just to say thank you for opening it, because now it was just closed. It was not in use or anything. Anyway, so then each country had a week to celebrate. So our week was in February. So Nana Gashaga came with our former president, Mr. President Uhuru Kenyatta, to open the Kenya week. And so she saw the brand. I guess she got my number from someone on the team. And she said, hey, would you be interested in doing the Oscars? I was like, immediately, yes. What do you need from me? And said, oh, we have a virtual meeting tomorrow. Join and then you'll get all the info. I said, cool. That weekend that I was supposed to ship the bags, I was actually going to Abu Dhabi for another event. So organizing the shipping from Abu Dhabi to LA, it was like all over the place. I kept tracking the bags like they were eggs. I was like, I'm not sure
those bags better get there.
Yeah. And as this was happening, they give you a list of who's RSVP to the bag suite. So I was praying that Viola Davis would be there. Reason being, when I was in Malaysia, I was joking with you earlier about stand-in.
Yeah,
I used to do stand-in acting for actors during my breaks for school because it paid so well. And Viola Davis has this movie called Black Hat with Chris Hemsworth. And so my friend was like, oh, come and do the stand-in. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. At that point, she hadn't done, Woman King or any of these things. Even her series she hadn't done. The only one I knew her from was The Help. So I get onto this set and literally we're like 4 people, including the people who are doing, the filming, the lighting, the sound. And I'm like, okay, well, the masses. They're like, oh, no, this is what stand-in means. You sit down, they focus on you so that when the actor comes, they just have to do their scene and leave. I was like, oh, okay. So she comes on set and I swear I didn't recognize her the first time. And we just walked past each other. She was really nice. She's like, hi, Nthenya, that's a really interesting name. How do I pronounce it? And it became like this whole topic of conversation. And then the second time she passed, she literally saw recognition on my face. I'm like, oh, you're the lady from The Help. She's like, took you a minute. And I spent the whole week with her. And she's so chill. She's so humble. She's really nice. So for me, when I saw her name on the list, I kept saying, please let it be her, because then it'll be full circle.
Yeah. And please come, not just the name of the list.
Exactly. And when I saw her get the bag, I was like, okay. Finally, I think I've manifested this into reality. Yeah, so it was a nice experience. I think a lot of people ask me why I don't overreact. I honestly think it hasn't hit me yet, because I'm always looking for the next thing,
which is good because now you remain
grounded.
True. Yeah,
true.
Okay, so what should we expect from your latest collection?
Latest collection will definitely have more day bags, because I did a bit of a focus group and a lot of people are like, we need bags we can take to work, not just for evening or to carry our laptops, but something that's actually more functional. I'm also going to include a bucket bag, because most bag collections tend to have a bucket bag and they're fun. Those are the ones you can really play with in terms of size and color and straps. I've also added card holders, because one thing about fish leather, depending on the size of the fish, there's only so much you can make. So card holders or smaller bags are easier to make without having to cut the pieces and patching them together. Yeah. So I decided to do a lot more smaller pieces in fish leather, or maybe just the straps, things like that don't need a lot of patchwork.
Okay. What's your favorite bag out of your collection?
It has to be the travel bag, because my travel bag was my first sample and it's been everywhere with me. I've never left it behind. Everywhere. I mean, it looks like it's been everywhere. Yeah, that's my favorite bag.
I read actually on newspaper, I think it was Business Daily, that you're venturing into NFTs.
Yep.
How is it working?
So the opportunity to get into NFTs came earlier last year. And it's been interesting because I was working with an artist and a graphic designer trying to capture what it was that I wanted to show for the NFT. And what I wanted to create was, if you bought the NFT, then you actually got a bag with it. You know, so it's not just the art, but you also gift.
You have a real bag.
Yeah, a tangible, a tangible asset. But unfortunately, when I got into NFT, that's when the bubble was bursting. Oof. So now it's kind of just wait and see if it's going to come back again. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So the artwork is still up on Emergo, but now we're just kind of waiting to see.
Okay, you said earlier you ended up in the Oscars rather. But we also saw you on Grammy's red carpet and other high profile, the Cannes Festival. How did you end up in those ones?
The same lady who does Oscars does all of those suites. So because it was a joint collaboration between KICC and this lady to give the African gifting suite, that's how Cannes Oscars started last year, and then we moved to Cannes. So I actually had the opportunity to go to Cannes, which was great because then I got to meet a lot of people, and they're so open. They give you their cards, they give you their stylist cards, their management. I met the president of Golden Globes. Like, they're just all coming to the suite, because also we're giving not just, my bags was a whole Kenyan suite. So they were getting holidays from Sarova, Billionaires. They were getting things from Ushanga. They were getting things from Canvas Cosmetics. So a lot of brands were represented there. Even the Kenya the Kenya Film Commission was there as well. So that was really good exposure, because then I got to really meet a lot of people on the ground. And I remember being so shocked because a lot of them didn't have security. So the first, and then, a lot of them don't have makeup. Unless they're going for an event, without makeup, you really can't tell who's who.
Yeah.
So I remember the first recognizable film star I saw was Tarzan, Alexander Skarsgård. And he smiled because I was like mid lasagna bite when he walked past me, and I was like, no. Why is he just walking by himself? Like, what's happening? So I went to ask someone at the suite, I'm like, why don't they have security? They said because Cannes is where the wealthy people live. So all the parties they're attending are on the boats of the people who live here.
Yeah.
They might have fame, but they don't have the level of wealth as the people who actually live here. So it was really great. I got to meet a lot of people. And then this lady has a knack. She's been in this business for like 18 years. Her best friend is Sharon Stone. Nathalie is on another level. So she's done this for so long that she kind of knows exactly where to set up. So for instance, in Cannes, it was at the JW Marriott. And that's where a majority of the stars were staying. So even when you were just sitting in the lobby, you're just bumping into people. This girl just came up to me. She's like, hi, you're so beautiful. Where are you from? I said, I'm from Kenya. And we had this whole conversation. And now because I didn't know who was who, I just started taking selfies with people. So when we're going to lunch, I asked the other girl that I was with, I'm so sorry, but who was that? She goes, oh my God, Nthenya, I'm going to slap you. That was the sister from Black Panther, Letitia Wright. I'm like, what? And I'm telling you, she really wanted to talk and have a conversation. If I had told her we go for pizza, she would have come. Damn. Yeah, she would have come. Like, they're just so chill like that. As long as you don't overreact and treat them like human beings, that's it. And that's how kind of Cannes happened. A lot of the times you'd just be bumping into people, because we'd also go for marketing events. So like you'd go for charity events at the end of the evening where you have to dress up, and that's now when you really get to rub shoulders with a lot of interesting people. And after a few of those, I remember one of the stars that we became friends with, he plays Marseille in Money Heist, Luca. Luca bumped into us in the lobby and he was like, listen, guys, can we just go for a drink? I just need to sit and go for a drink with two normal people where I don't have to talk about, it's because they're doing it back to back. They're going to sell all of their roles. Exactly. So he was like, I just need 2 hours, some cocktails with normal conversation. So went to this bar, I had cocktails, and I became the photographer for him because people were just fanning out like, oh my God, that's Marseille. Oh my God. And people were looking at us like, why are you just sitting there? Like, this is Marseille, you know? So it was really interesting. And that's how then I got to Grammys. And 2 bags were given to Beyonce's producers. Yeah. And one of the producers was actually sitting on her table when she was winning her Grammy. And then the girl who carried the red fish leather bag, she also got gifted a bag. And she's one of Beyonce's songwriters. So I didn't even know that she was going to carry it on red carpet. I just got tagged. And then Nathalie called me. She's like, have you seen? And I'm like, seen what? She's like, girl, because you know time difference. So she's like, get on your Instagram. And I swear to God, I was screaming in my house by myself because my mom was already asleep. I was like, she's not even going to fathom what I'm going to tell her. So let me just scream by myself. Jumped all over the house. And this girl is just texting me. And I'm like, thank you so much for carrying my bag and this and the other. She's like, oh, I want to order more so I can carry more. Like, she was like, really nice.
So cool.
Yeah. So my mom is like, in 2 weeks, your life is completely changed. Because sometimes she'll ask me like, who are you texting? Like, you're so deep in a text. Oh, somebody from Beyonce's team. She's like, why do you say that so calmly? I'm like, well, I mean.
But then the word just Beyonce, people go crazy.
And the funny thing is, I manifested this year and I said, I want to become Beyonce verified at one point or another. And then somehow these 3 people get the bags. So it's like inching closer and closer to getting Beyonce verified. Yeah. But I think that if you don't let it get to your head, which is just naturally happening for me, I'm not freaking out or anything. It happens more for you because then you start meeting so many different people. Yeah. So I just start looking at the next thing. Like, as soon as I was done with Grammys, I was already producing for Oscars. I know that Cannes is coming up. I already have to start producing for that. I know that Emmys will be right after that. I need to start producing. So as long as you just keep your focus on moving forward and trying to do your best with your PR and your marketing, it's the best
focus
you can do.
On the goal.
Yeah.
You know, when you say gifting, a lot of Kenyans might be assuming it's for free. You're giving out for free.
Yeah.
Okay. So you produce this amount of, let's say, bag. You go to Cannes Festival.
Yeah.
The artists come. Those who pick pays you because production by itself.
That's now a marketing spend. Yeah. So you're doing this to get access to these celebrities, to get the bags into their hands. You get to meet them. You get, the photo ops. You get access to their stylists, their agents. So you start building a relationship that in future is going to be great for you because...
So in short, investing on yourself.
Yeah, this is investing in the brand and the PR because now, I mean, I tried to Google. I didn't really find another African bag brand that has been on the red carpet of Grammys. So that's huge.
That's so huge.
Yeah. So already that puts my brand at a certain position that most people don't get to see in a career for 10 years. And we've been in business for 4. Yeah. So it's an investment.
So do you facilitate yourself also going there?
Oh, yeah.
Is that under Kenyan?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Facilitate yourself, pay for yourself.
So in short, invest on yourself and your business.
I don't have a salary at the moment. I'm squatting in my mother's house until further notice. Everything is reinvested back in the brand. Yeah. Until it's able to sustain itself, where, I think the end goal for me would be to have my own in-house production because one thing I noticed was after going to school in Milan, the bags I could make in school, I can't make here because the machinery is like 15 years old.
Damn.
Exactly. So if I want to stay ahead of the game and in 20 years or 30 years be able to compete with the Pradas, I first have to have my own in-house production.
Yeah.
I have to train them the way I was trained in Milan and I have to get the machinery that's up to date. Yeah. So... It's a lot.
I wish you all the best to that. I'm stressed that I'm not even the one making the bags.
It's all right. I'm focused.
Now, we have amazing local designers, but they're mostly concentrating on the local market when they can do so much and actually venture like you into the international markets. What would you advise them to do?
Take the leap. You have nothing to lose. Just ensure that your quality control is great. I mean, everything. I look over the manufacturer's shoulders like a crazy person. Like, that stitch, I don't know about that stitch. I mean, even when we're getting ready for Grammys, oh my God, I was so happy that I was there that day, because sometimes you have to travel, so you just have to go vibes and inshallah and pray. Just pray that everything is the way you'd want it to be. So I remember we were making the dust bags that the bags sit inside of, and this girl didn't cut it quite right, so you could see the made in China in gold hadn't been hemmed over. And I looked at them and said, like, you guys know I'm playing on a totally different level. What if one of these bags is gifted to Alicia Keys and then there's this made in China? Like, do it again. And they were so exasperated with me, but I was just like, sorry, for me to stay on top. And now that I've realized I'm now receiving a lot of pressure to stay on top. So my quality control has to be even better than it was before. I have no room for error. So I would just tell local designers, there's nothing wrong with focusing on the local market. I just did it the other way around. But take the leap. You have nothing to lose. There's a lot of people who want the things that you have. And there's nothing, a lot of people always tell me there's nothing more amazing than real leather. You know, the smell of it, the fact that it's a long-term product. So as long as you've got a great aesthetic, this is a bag they're going to have for a long time. Yeah. And it gets better with age. Yeah.
Which designer do you look up to and why?
I look up to two, actually, and they're continental. So there's one bag designer in Nigeria called Femi Handbags. I love anybody who uses tradition in their bags. So she uses all of the textiles that they have traditionally, and her colors are bright and bold, but the aesthetics are very modern. So she's found a way to mix them together, and they're just beautiful. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those really stunning bags. The second one would be Axe from Ghana, and she does the basket weaving, which touches my heart because my grandmother originally used to do basket bags from Kambani. And she used to work with a lot of women in her community. So to see how she's been able to change the designs of the bags, where they have pom-poms, and just even the shape of the basket has changed. And I really look up to them because, like, Axe is already in Nordstrom. The things that I want to do, she's in Nordstrom, she's in John Lewis, Madewell. She's done, she's done interviews with, like, The Economist. So I really follow everything that she does. And she actually is really cool because you can ask her questions and she'll respond. I was like, I'm an emerging bag designer and I really want to get to your level. What advice do you have? I've noticed that she focuses a lot on the women who make the bags. So all her Instagram posts are always, you see them sorting the sisal, see the ladies making the bags, and so it's
so every bag has like a story.
Exactly. So she's in terms of marketing, I think she's aced it. So those are the two that I really, really follow. Yeah.
Collaboration in the fashion industry is now a big thing. Are you collaborating with anyone?
I am looking forward to collaborating with Iona McCreath. I'm so happy that Kiko Romeo has now become a legacy business. So that's something that we're talking about. See what happens in the future. Because even when I traveled to Cannes, last minute, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to wear? Why am I struggling to find something to wear? And they're all these designers I should wear homegrown. So I wore a dress by Kiko Romeo for one of the charity galas. And so many people asked me about this dress. They were like, because I also had the Masai Shangas. They were like, you completely stand out from everybody here. It got to a point where I was so overwhelmed with people. I kept looking for Nana, like, don't leave me alone. There's just too many people. I don't know what to say. I'm out of business cards. Yeah. So, I think that Iona would be someone I'd really like to collaborate with. I like the direction that the brand is going in. And of course, my cousin Katush, because we see each other almost every day. So
she's like your sister now.
Yeah. So, definitely her as well.
What will people be surprised to know about you?
Oh, I'm a risk taker. In terms of, I'm a thrill seeker. In May, I plan to go shark cage diving in Cape Town. It's something that's been on my bucket list for a while. Yeah, I figured I better do it before I have children because I won't be so reckless. So that skydiving in Dubai, and then there's also this zip lining you can do in Dubai from one of the tallest buildings right across Dubai. I want to do that as well. So I kind of want to do things where, you know, when I do have kids, they'll be like, oh my God, you know, my mommy did this and my mommy did that. Because I want to raise confident African children, you know, that they can do whatever that they set their minds to. So if I don't set an example, then how am I raising confident kids? Yeah. So yeah, I'm a real thrill seeker. I hate heights, but I will always go on a roller coaster. Anything that I have to confront my fear, I will do it. Yeah.
I want to do skydiving in Dubai.
Yeah. I think do it over the palm. That picture would be epic. Yeah. Because everyone's like, oh, you can do it in Cape Town for cheaper. And so I was like, yeah, but it's not the same.
Someone was telling me you can do it in Diani.
Exactly. I was like, no.
There's a reason why I want that one at Burj Khalifa. Khalifa rather.
Exactly.
There's a reason why I want that. When you talk about fashion market, you just think about New York, London, Paris. What's your take on bags market overall and also in Kenya?
First, globally in the luxury space, they've managed to survive the pandemic. If anything, they've got more expensive. I remember that when I was studying in Milan, just to go and get inspiration, you'd go to the high streets and things like that. The queue for Chanel. And a Chanel bag had now gone up to like $7,000 for like the smallest one. I was like, where are people finding this money? And they're young. These are kids in their 25. It's like, oh, where is this money coming from? Abu, they tell us. So even us guys, we got to look for that money. So in terms of luxury products, they did pretty well during the pandemic. And bags have become an investment, especially Hermes and Chanel. The resale value is insane. So locally, what would I say about bags? I mean, there's so much room for growth. I wouldn't say it's saturated. So if there's anybody else who would love to start bags, I would highly recommend that you go after it. I had a lot of naysayers when I initially started. People didn't think I was going to do very well. So boohoo, I'm here. I made it. So yeah, the fashion market, I mean, if I had to do my first show, if I was being honest, I would love to start in Lagos. I really want to start in my home continent and then grow from there. So if I could do Lagos or Addis, but Lagos mainly because Lagos, they really have such an enormous fashion.
Vibrant.
Yeah, it's vibrant and there's quite a spotlight on everything to do with West Africa, especially the music. So I would love to start with Lagos Fashion Week. And then have the opportunity, if I had the opportunity to do anywhere else, then great. Yeah, but I think in terms of the international fashion market, I'm glad I started with luxury. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard because even price points, when I first started, reason why I didn't sell in Kenya at all was because people wouldn't pay my prices. And I had to just bite the bullet and say, well, people overseas want my bags and they're going to pay for them. So I'll have to build my local market when the time comes. But for now, if people, in fact, a lot of people used to say, your bag's actually really reasonable. They're not that expensive. You know, like you need to up your price point because if you're selling a bag that nobody else has and will never have, like the cow prints, you can literally charge whatever you want and people will pay.
Yeah.
So now that I've been to Grammys, boy, if you didn't buy your bags before,
price keeps on going higher.
It keeps going higher. It's going higher, guys.
Do you work with any charities?
I work with the Ushanga Association, and their main cause is to stop FGM. So I love working with them because they're already working with beading circles. So it's not something that I needed to put together. I'd already started with women from my community, from Kajiado, but the fact that they already had an established framework that allowed me to work with so many more communities, not just the Maasais, but West Pokot, and it was really nice. So I work with them, and they working to stop FGM, which is something I'm also really against. So yeah.
Okay. Lastly, any projects you're working on that you've not mentioned?
Not at the moment. Outside of being in the British Council Creative DNA cohort, third cohort, I'm just working on my latest collection and then see what's the way forward. Yeah, never know what opportunities pop up.
You never know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for your time. It's been fun talking to you. I've never done a podcast before, so I'm really happy.
Karibu tena.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. Please subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.